Good afternoon and welcome to Bull Market Stock Show. This is your host Rian Obson, and we're doing actually the Chinese property market that is busy actually collapsing now. Now, this is the moment that I've been waiting now for a very long time since the release of my book, The Ultimate Depression in 2017. I've been tracking the story enormously with the amount of properties that China has been building over the years, and especially if you look at Evergrande, that is basically collapsing today. These guys have been building 600,000 houses per year, every single year. For the last 10 years, they went consistently on. And there was a massive oversupply of houses or actually units that people can stay in. And where they thought, China, where they thought that the people in the rural areas will move in the urban areas and then the property prices will go up. Absolutely nonsense. That is what the government of China thought, and that was not the result. Now, the implications for this is enormous. And as I wrote in my book, The Ultimate Depression, this will be a devastating collapse, and China will collapse first. This is what I wrote in 2017. Now, today is basically on it, and I'm dead sure there's nobody else that you know that was predicting this big fall of China, and which I will explain after the break.
Keep your finger on the market pulse with the News Alerts tool. Stay up to date on the latest sentiment across all the major asset classes. Uncover bullish or bearish signals tied to specific assets that could be developing before major price moves, and track how news sentiment correlated with price in the past. Track the news volume on an asset, its fear index, and get a better feel for its underlying strength. All with News Alerts, your central hub for market information. That's higher trading from MarketsX.
Good afternoon and welcome to Bull Market Stock Show. This is your host Rian Obson, and please don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube page. There's a link below. Just click on a link. It's markets.com. Register an account and fund the account with $250, and then you will get my classes absolutely free. And which is one of the whole stories is the story that I'll be talking of today, and that is the Chinese property market that's basically collapsing now. The thing is, there is enormous amount of shockwaves that goes through the world. And as I said in the description below, that this is actually China's Lehman Brothers. But this is Lehman Brothers of 2008 times 100, basically. China built too much properties over the boom, I would say, over the last 20 years. And they have been going on consistently where the government is pumping money in. And these construction companies just keep on building the whole entire time. Now, the last time I wrote the book in 2017, the Chinese corporate debt was already at that time of 200% of GDP, 200% of GDP. The United States corporate debt today is only at 140%. Now you can imagine how massive that property market is of China. Now they thought they can build properties and then people will just come stay in it, which is absolutely nonsense. It's far from economics. Now, what the Chinese government is currently doing now, they're bulldozing these huge condos now and wiping out. Those things are just standing there because there is properties of Evergrande that are about 200,000 basically of projects that they started that they did not complete. And those things will just stand empty there. There's other property markets, I would say construction companies in China that built also property that went bankrupt. Since the beginning of this year, 200 of these construction companies went bankrupt, and all these buildings are just standing there empty. Evergrande is actually the largest company in China that built properties. I will just repeat myself, 600,000 units per year these guys built. And in 2017, I said that is way too much, and it will run in an oversupply of property, which will bring down the property prices, and that will be the end of the Chinese property market. Well, what they did the last time in 2017, 2018, every time the government of China came in, and then they saved the construction companies. Now, I knew you can only save a company in a short period of time. At the end, if people don't buy these properties or you don't complete these properties, then everything needs to sink. And that is what currently happening in China today. Now, they need to make two payments. This is now Evergrande. They need to make two payments this week, which they missed already today, which was the interest payment that they need to make of one of the one of their creditors. Also, they need to make another payment on Thursday, which the market already anticipate that they will not do it. Now, this will conclude into a default. Now, when they are defaulting, that will put shockwaves around the world, and then that will sink the stock market in China. South Africa will be heavily affected, and that is exactly what I said in my book in 2017. South Africa will be badly affected in this whole BRIC nation story that South Africa is under. But it's not just South Africa. You will have Brazil, South Africa, Australia, New Zealand. All of those countries will get affected, even Canada will get affected when the Chinese property market is sinking. Now, very importantly, Chinese property market is actually 15 to 20% of the entire GDP of China. China is building roads and properties all over the world. And even in China themselves, they've been building there since day one. And now it is too much that they built because they thought that the people are just going to stay there. And that is not the case. Now, Evergrande is sitting on 300 billion US dollars of debt, which they can't repay. That 300 billion US dollars, which they can't repay. Now, there's a possibility that the Chinese government will jump in and bail out Evergrande again. Or some of the banks will jump in and bail them out. The thing is it worthwhile? Because there is too much properties available in China and nobody wants to buy it. So is it useful for the Chinese government to go in and buy these properties? I definitely don't think so. Or these construction companies, because they are done and dusted. China's property boom is done. Is absolutely done. Now, the Chinese government can do that and save the day, which will only last for a very short time, and then the whole thing will explode again. If Chinese government leave this whole Evergrande story alone and let the company sink, which I think is right, let the company sink, that will create shock waves around the world. Now, what will be the implications of this? One, Australian dollar will get affected and its economy will get affected because of the trade relations between Australia and China. It's a very close relationship that they do have. South African rand will also go down. The New Zealand dollar will also go down. The euro, the British pound, all of them will go down. Most of the FX currencies that will actually prevail in this is the Japanese yen and the US dollar, basically your safe haven currencies, and also the Swiss franc. Those three currencies will actually go up in this time of turmoil. Stock markets, especially your industrial stocks, that is now the equities, the Dow Jones, that will definitely sink. The South African JSE will definitely sink. The Australians will definitely sink as well. Commodity prices have what we've seen today, which is now the crude oil prices that will sink, lumber prices that will sink, iron ore, steel, all of those things will definitely sink. When this company, the Evergrande, is actually defaulting because of the massive buying power that they had over the last 10 years of building 600,000 units actually every single year. Millions of people in China, and you can actually go to YouTube if the videos are still existing, where people want to commit suicide, throw themselves out of buildings now because of this whole company's collapsing. Millions of people want to move in their houses or want to actually where they put down deposits for their houses, want now their houses, and there's absolutely nothing. It stands there redundant. There's nothing going on there. And that is all to do with the Chinese Communist government. A government that thinks for the people never works out. It always backfires. And because people's behaviors change, we are individuals. We think differently. But that didn't come for the Chinese because they think if they build the properties, people will just come. This is an absolute disaster, and I will definitely bite the situation the situation out. I hope you guys actually did register for my course and find your account with $250, because I've been waiting for this specific moment now since 2017, and this bugger just did not collapse. Now it's more than ever that it will collapse, and I will definitely make sure that I cash in. Make sure you register your account, fund it with $250, and be part of me, because I will definitely cash in this uncertain times of China. That is it from my side for today. I hope you guys enjoyed today's show, and then I will see you guys again. Later on at around about 6:30 for my money show on Dot Financial News. That is it from my side. I will see you guys later on. Bye bye.